Hello everyone, this is Mang Sangvi from vlamon.com and I am back with another SQL Server 2014 tutorial. And in this video we are going to learn about SQL Server where clause. This is the second part on where clause. In our first part we learned about how to use a numbers against a equality sign in where clause. In non-equality sign, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and how to handle a null record or null column if we have to use in a where clause condition. Now in the second part we are going to learn about the and or, and or, in, and range between. We are going to cover all this topic in this video. Now first question is what is and why to use and in where clause. So for this I have to open SSMS. This is my SSMS. I already opened SSMS and we are going to use AdventureWorks 2014 database for all our examples. If we want to understand how it is going to work, then I created a simple example. Let's assume we have a database table with following columns: C1, C2, C3, C4 and C5. Now in our first part we learned how to filter our data based on our column 1 condition. So let's assume this is the plain scenario and I want to filter data where my column 1 contains one value. So this is the data. Let's say this contains the sample data. So in this scenario our data is going to filter based on C1 column where C1 equals to 1. So this record is selected, this record is also selected, and this record is also selected. Rest of the records are going to be filtered. Next we have to filter our record based on column 1 and column 2. So in this scenario you are telling our database server bring all those records where C1 equals to 1 and also C2 equals to 2. So let's say this. Now when we see this scenario, in this our records which are going to be select is this, because in this record or in this row our C1 equals to 1 and C2 equals to 2, but both the conditions are true, both the conditions are matching, so this record is selected. So let me highlight this. So this record is selected. Next row C1 is 2 and C2 is 1, so both the conditions are failing, so this record is going to be rejected. Same way again this record is going to be rejected. Why? C1 is 4 and C2 is 3, so again this is not matching. This record is going to be selected because C1 is 1 and C2 is 2. This record is going to be rejected. Again these two records are going to be rejected, and also this record is going to be rejected. Why? Because C1 is 1, it is matching, but my second condition is failing because he wants C2 equals to 2, but in this scenario C2 is equals to 1, so this is also rejected. Now how to implement this in our real scenario? For this I created an employee table with following columns: employee ID, first name, last name, is active, and salary of the employee. In this I inserted few, this is not the correct table, so let me remove this. Okay, I don't want this. Okay, for explaining how to use and, I create a table, employee table. Table name is #employee1. of course it is a temporary table. Now in this I have following columns: employee ID, employee name, salary, and whether the employee is active or not. Is active means whether it is with my organization or not. Now I inserted few records, sample records or dummy records, and here is my data. Now as per my requirement or practical scenario, I have to find the employee left last week. One of the employees left last week and I forgot the name of the employee. So I want to find that employee. So how I am going to find that employee? Simple. I know I have a flag where I am storing the status of the employee, whether this employee is with my organization or not. One is for it is a part of organization, and 0 the employee is left. So for this, or for achieving or for finding this employees, I am simply writing a query select star from where the employee is not active. In other words, is active equals to 0. So this will bring all the employees which left. Okay, now I got 5 records. Still I am confused whether which employee is employee 5 is left last week, employee 11 left last week. I don't know. I know another information that the employee who left the organization last week having salary equals to 4839. So why not use this information to filter our data? Now we are going to use both this condition to filter our data. First the is active flag, and then we are going to use salary. So execute this, and finally we got our employee name. So I know the employee 11 is left last week. Employee 11 left last week. I got my result. Now let's assume another scenario or another practical example. I want to find, or my management is want cost cutting in my organization. My management want to find all the active employees. Okay, now how to achieve this? Find all the active employees. Here is the simple query which brings all the active employees. Again, this query is with single condition or one condition. Execute. Now all these employees are active. Now what I have to do for this record, or by what I have to do? Now my management team gave me another condition. You have to find all those employees having salary 23234. Okay, now again we have two condition and we have to use AND keyword to combine these two condition. Okay, no problem. Here our employee table with two condition. Select star from hash employee 1 where is active equals to 1 and salary equals to 23234. Okay, execute. Now I got this employees with salary 23234. Now management decide we don't want these employees because these employees with highest salary. We are paying all these employees with highest salaries. For cost cutting we want to remove all these employees. Now another scenario. After few months my management thought that removing these 23234 employees with salary 23234 is not enough. We want to remove employees having salary 12134 also. Now how to achieve this scenario? Okay, mm, I know we have to find employee which is active in my organization and having salary 12134, and I want to find employee with salary 23234. Okay, so this is my first condition, whether it is belongs to my organization or not, and then I have to find whether the salary of employee is 12134 and salary. I also want to find those employee having salary 23234. So I created this where clause with three condition. Okay, no problem, execute. I found nothing. My query is returning nothing. Why? My table contains employee with salary 23234 and 12134, but my database query or my SQL query or my T-SQL query is returning nothing. Something is wrong. Okay, let's understand what happening in this scenario. Just make this query simpler and remove is active equals to 1. Now what we are checking in this where clause, you have to find, or you are telling SQL Server you have to find all those records where salary equals to 12134 and salary equals to 23234. Now how SQL Server is going to find this? SQL Server is going to check your first record. Okay, now this is the first record and my instruction is I have to find where salary equals to 12134. So 198 equals to 1234. So this is wrong. This is not matching, and I have to find salary 1298 equals to 2324. Again this condition is not matching. This condition and this condition is not matching. That's why I am rejecting this record. He comes to second record, is again reject this second record. Same for 3478. Now in case of 23234. Okay, now 23234 is equals to 1314. No, so it is false. This condition is false. And now 23234 is equals to 23234. It is true. So why it is not returning the records? Simple. As I told previously, in case of AND clause, if you have multiple conditions, then your database query or T-SQL query bring data only when your all the conditions are true. Okay, in this scenario your database query is return records when your all the AND conditions or 10 condition or 100 condition are true. Okay, now in this scenario our first condition is false and second condition is true. So as per the theory, when all the conditions are true, then this query is going to return the record. So that's why it is rejected. Same for this scenario, 12134 is, this is true, but in this scenario it is false. So that's why this record is also rejected. So I want this for this scenario. Okay, now how to handle this scenario where I have to find employees with salary 23234 and 12134. Okay, for this we are using OR clause. Why OR clause? Okay, this is our OR clause, and let's understand what is OR clause. Okay, let me copy all this here, paste special 12134, and I want to check this is okay. We have to find a record now. We have to find record where C1 or column 1 equals to 1 or C2 equals to 2. In case of OR, your database query is returning record if either your C1 condition or C2 condition is true. So in this scenario, my C1 condition and C2 condition both are true. So this record is selected. Now in this scenario, my C1 condition fails because 1 is not equals to 2. And similarly, C2 2 is not equals to 1. So both the condition is false. So this record is rejected. Now in this scenario, again it is rejected because 1 is not equals to 4 and 2 is not equals to 3. In this condition, all the records are true. So again for this record, 1 is not equal to 3 and 2 is not equal to 1, so both the condition is false. So this record is rejected. Again this record is rejected and this record is rejected. Now in this scenario, our C1 equals to 1, so our first condition is true, and the next condition C2 equals to 2, and this is false. But as I told, if any one of the condition is true in case of OR, then that record is selected. So let me highlight which one is selected, which one is rejected. So this is selected. Let me format painter, and this is again selected, format painter, and this is again selected. And which one is rejected? All these records are going to be rejected. So let me copy this and this for better clarity or the difference between AND and OR. So this record is rejected, and let me hide this. Okay, hide the cells. I don't want this anymore. Hide this cell. Okay, so in case of OR, all this record is selected. In case of AND, all these records are rejected. So again, the theory part. In AND clause, if all the conditions are true, then the record is selected. And in case of OR, if any one of the condition is true, then your record is selected. So let's rewrite our this query. I want to find employees with salary 12134 and salary 23234. So how I am going to achieve this scenario? Here is the example. Find those employees having salary 12134 and salary 23234. Execute this query, and now I got my expected result. No issue. Now we have to remove this. So simply, this is our query. Okay. Something is wrong here. What? I have to check what is wrong. Can anybody tell me the reason why it is failing? Okay, let me tell you why this query is failing, or why this is coming. Okay, no issue. When you use AND or OR clause, When you use and or clause, always and clause or and keywords get the precedence on or keyword. So in this scenario, if I if I have to say how our SQL query is bringing data, then you have to combine all this stuff and you have to say our T-SQL query first comparing this where salary is 23234 and is active equals to 1, then you have to bring those record, or you have to bring record where salary equals to 12134. Okay, I got it. So this the query or T-SQL which is automatically combining all these two condition is wrong. So how to avoid this? We have to manually tell the SQL Server that you are combining this and this is wrong. You have to actually combine the salary part and bring the is active clause as it is, or you have to tell SQL Server that this is your first condition and this is my second condition. Okay, let's execute this query, and now we have correct data. Okay, no issue. You can change the order also here. So is active 1 and your salary condition. Okay, now I have to explain you. I want to explain in clause. What is in clause, how to use in clause, and why to use in clause. Okay, no issue. Now let's assume I have a scenario in which I have to bring my 10 customer order details, or I have to find the invoices, all the invoices for all these 10 customers. Okay, this is the customer ID. So how I am going to achieve this? Simple, I am going to use the or clause. Okay, so this is my sales order header table containing sales order ID, my customer invoice total, and customer ID. I have to bring records for all these customers. For this I write this query. Okay, now what in this query, you have to select all the records where my customer ID is 11,000. You have to find the records where customer ID is also 11,101 and so on. Okay, let's execute this. 30 records. So our scenario is achieved, our practical scenario is achieved, or our requirement is completed here. But what if I change this scenario little bit? You have to find all those employees, or you have to find all the sales order ID for customer up to 11,029. Oh my god. It's very simple. I am going to use this or clause 30 times. Okay, let me copy this. Oh, this is 10, this is 11. Oh my god, this is very boring. What if my manager said I have to find all the records with customer ID up to 11,129, then I have to type all these condition 130 times. Oh, this is very wrong. Please God, give me some magic wand so I can write this query. Okay, the magic wand is in clause or in keyword. How you are going to use this? The syntax is simple. I think I have the syntax. Here is the syntax. In this you have to, this is your simple select statement, and in this you add a where clause where your column name, and then you have to give all those condition for which you want to, you want data. Okay, so I want, in this scenario I placed all the n numbers for which I want data, and you have to just remember that you have to place a comma separated values or comma separated IDs which you want to retrieve. So the same, this example in which I have to bring the 10 customers detail, I converted this query into this. Okay, select star from sales order header where customer ID in 11,000 comma 11,001 comma 11,002 comma 11,003 comma 11,004 comma 11,005 up to 11,009. So about this query, and this query is going to return the same number of record. Okay, so this is my first query with 30 records, and this is my second query with 30 records. Okay. Now again, this is not the scenario when your manager asks you have to retrieve data for 130 customers. Again, you have to type 130 customer IDs. This is not the solution. If you have to find the customer IDs, or you have to find records for 500 customer IDs, you are not going to type 500 customer IDs here. Okay, now what is the solution for this? I am going to show the solution for this scenario, but for the time being, but I have to show the not keyword with in clause, and once it is done, and I am going to show the solution for this scenario. Okay, what is not in? Not in is just, or in and not in is just equal, same as equal to and not equal to. In this scenario, you are telling SQL Server that you have to bring all the records with ID 1 to n. In this, you are telling SQL Server bring all the records which is not available, or the IDs for which IDs it is not available in this. So consider this example. First, my manager is saying you have to find the customer having customer ID this. Okay, okay, I'm fine. Now next time he says you have to find records where your customer ID is not in this. So you just replace, or you just add a new keyword not, and execute this and see the difference between this. Currently my first query is returning 30 records because it is bringing records only for 9 customers, 30 records. But in my second query it is returning 31,435 rows. It is returning all the records which is not belongs to this customer IDs. So this is the difference between not in and in. Now it's time to explain the range. Okay, now what is range? Let's assume, or as I told you, if your customer or if your manager or anyone asks you to bring the records for 500 customers, you're not going to type 500 customers ID in this in clause. So what is the solution? You can use range. How to use? Simple. You're telling SQL Server, or this is your sales order header table, you have to bring records where customer ID is greater than equals to 11,000 and your customer ID is less than equals to 11,009. Okay, this is return. Okay, let me first execute. This is only returning 30 rows, or this is only returning data for 10 customer. No, you can change it. If you want to bring the 500 customer record, then you can simply change your the maximum limit of customer ID. Now execute. You have data for 500 customer. 1604 records, no issue. What if I want records for 130 customers? Simply change the maximum limit, and now you got record for your 130 customers. And this is your one records of 130 customer. Now this is the range. This is the variant of range, and this is the first variant in which I am excluding the lower limit. In this I am excluding the higher limit, and in this I am excluding the lower and higher limit. What is this? Okay, for this I have to open Excel and assume you have a table having IDs for 8. This is your table, customer tables containing ID column. Now in range, first you have to find all the records from, or you have to find the records with ID 1. This is my minimum range, and 8, this is my maximum range. So I want to include this and this, so this is my query, 1 or ID. Okay, can I hide this? I don't want this anymore. Okay, hide. So I have lots of space now. So this is my condition where you have to retrieve data where your ID is equals to 1 and your ID is less than equals to 8. In this scenario, 1 is our minimum and 8 is maximum. We are excluding both 1 and 8. Or in other words, your condition where ID is greater than 1, so this is the scenario, and also equals to 1, so this record is also included, and this is the maximum limit, and your ID must be equals to 8 and less than 8. So all these records are selected. Now what if I have to exclude one? Simply you have to remove this equal to sign. In this scenario, all these records are selected. Your one is not selected. Another variant, third variant, in this we are excluding the maximum limit and including the minimum limit. In this scenario, you have to bring all the records having ID greater than or equal to 1 and less than 8. So what is the output for this query is this. In my last scenario, I am excluding the minimum and maximum. It means you have to bring all the records with ID greater than 1 and ID less than 8. So this is the output of your last query. The same thing I done here. So in this first query, we are bringing data for our first customer and last customer. In this we are excluding the record for first customer. In this we are excluding the record for last customer. In the last query we are excluding the first and last customer records. Now this is your range. You can also use between clause to achieve this scenario. Okay, how to use between clause? The syntax is simple. Select star from your table name where your column name between your range 1 and range 2. Always remember R2 is greater than R1. Always. And you can say R greater than equal to. Okay, no issue. So we achieved this scenario using this query. Okay, in this we are telling SQL Server that you have to bring all those records having customer ID greater than equals to 11,000 and customer ID less than equals to 11,009. So you execute these queries and you are going to same number of records in both the queries. Now how to achieve? Okay, you have to remember one thing. In between clause, it is always including record with your first range and your last range. It means it is always bringing the record for your customer ID 11,000 and customer ID 11,009. Now how to achieve this scenario or this scenario? You have to simply change your R1 or R2 based on your scenario. So here is the scenario where we have to exclude our 11,000 or customer ID or record with customer ID 11,000. So we changed R1 or range 1 or our lower limit. Okay, so over this query, in this query is going to be written the same record. Similarly, if we want to exclude the lowest customer ID and the maximum customer ID, here is the scenario. No. Okay, let me write the query. Let's assume I have to exclude all this, then we have to change the maximum limit. In this we are excluding the customer ID 11,000 and customer ID 11,009. So for achieving this in between clause, we have to change our R1 and R2. Now we are telling T-SQL query that you have to bring all the customer with starting customer ID is 11,001 and ending customer ID is 11,008. So in this way you have to use between clause. Now our tutorial part is completed. The exercise time, and this is the question for your practice. This is the first question, and you have to perform all these question on sales order, sales order header. So you have to write query on this. Okay, let me execute this so we can able to see the columns available in this. Now the first question, you have to find all the customer having territory ID is 5 and their shipping method is 1. Okay, this is your first question or first question for this exercise. Next you have to find a sales order ID for customer 15254 having total due amount is 929.8133. So let me show you the columns. Here is the customer ID and where is the total due? Here is the total due. In third question, you have to find records for customer ID 30052 and 21082. Okay, where is the customer ID column? Here it is. Okay, you can use this in your where clause. Now, this is the fourth question. You have to find records for following customer. Okay, 2134 42419 27008 28419 27008. For this question, you have to write all the possible queries. All the possible queries. Okay, this is the fifth question. Find the purchase done by customer other than following customer ID. Okay, you have to write a query for all the purchase done by customer which is not including in this IDs. Okay, again you have to write all the possible queries. This is the sixth question. You have to find sales order ID for total due greater than 43.0729 and less than 82.8529. Let me show you total due column. Here it is, total due column. Next question, you have to find the sales order ID for total due greater than equal to 663.5083 and less than 2596.7279. Again you have to find, or you have to write all the possible query for this. All the possible query. Same. Eighth question, you have to find all the sales order for total due greater than 2645.8673 and less than equals to 2767.392. All the possible queries, you have to write all the possible queries. Find the sales order ID for credit card. Okay, for the credit card greater than equals to 5322 and less than equals to 6894. On here is the, you have to use this column for the ninth question. Same, you have to write all the possible queries for this question. Leave your answer in the comment section. I will reply as soon as possible. You can also leave a comment if you want, or if you stuck somewhere, if you are not able to understand anything in this video. I will try some another example. I will try to explain in some other way. For this video, that's it. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share with your friend. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you all in my next SQL Server 2014 tutorial video.